Welcome back to the Hands and Benton. This is session 3 entitled Broken Home. Last session, the group found the wizard that was responsible for the stealing the necromantic energies that were powering the army of the necromancer that was in league with the succubi and also the Lady of the Deep. These matters were resolved quite quickly as they butchered him. More specifically, Panavalka butchered him, and in his demise, forced all of them into this strange subsect of the plane of shadow. They stand in a room that is, it would appear that it is a chamber covered with sand. The sand is actually very, very tiny, minuscule gemstones. The walls appear to be piecemeal of all different stonework, but blended in such a way that it appears that it's all one piece, even though it's very clearly not. These walls rise up to about a 50-foot height, and directly above them, they can see the expanse of darkness above them, with starlight above, and also the Dargian rift running across the heavens above. For those of you who aren't familiar, the Dargian rift is effectively the planar scope of the galaxy. On looking at its edge in the stars, it's a dark line that runs across the heavens from north to south, and looks like a it just looks like a black line that kind of is drawn across the heavens. But here you stand in this strange space, and I will switch the music because it looks like we're not the music I want. Okay, great. And the dead body of the one known as Wodokai lays at your feet. It appears that it, as the cusp of your teleportation, has also made its way through to this strange space with you.
Poke it with my toe.
He is definitely deceased.
So if I remember correctly, last session, Aveline told us we were in the land of death.
That sounds about right.
Is there anything that Nodder might know about this area, this realm?
You've sent several people here. Guess that's more than fair.
I'm trying to remember if I've discovered anything about this place in my religious studies.
You would know that the plane of shadow is, for those of you who are inquiring, you would know that the plane of shadow is a sectioned off place. It doesn't act as a heaven or a hell would. When you die, it's widely believed that you kind of go based on your virtues or your vices to one of these spaces. But the plane of death is really more a embodiment of the law of death. It is a place where the Senate of Ravens, those who rule over death, live and reside. It is also a place that, according to Aveline and Nodder, who have experienced this firsthand, would know that dreadlords rule over dread realms, which are basically these self-encapsulated points of entropy that are built around a single individual, a dreadlord, based on their just malevolent natures. Golthias was the dreadlord of the dread realm that you were in, and again, for people who are watching, and also for people who are in this group who might not be aware, when I say dread realm, I'm kind of referring to a Ravenloft-like realm. It is a space inside of the plane of shadow that is where the dead go to not be punished, also not to be like valorized, more or less to be kind of left in a purgatory.
My lord. Nodder has no lord.
You are the Baron.
He is a lord.
Myself.
Myself.
Me.
Oh my, me.
That's a lot of pressure.
The deceiver end this realm. I just keep running back into these types of things.
Sure.
I don't know what else to do except for go forward and see if we can find our way out. I remember there was an opportunity for us to escape the last time through other means. We went all the way to battle Gothias. Perhaps this time we can find a way out and just take it.
The main difference between this space and the space you were in Gothias' realm, and this would be something that Aveline would note, is that there are no mists. The plane of shadow is not entirely a mist-filled space, but the mists serve as barriers between dread realms. This does not appear to be a space in the plane of shadow that is a cordoned off kind of dread realm. Just some kind of weird manifestation of earth and material that you've been put in by this fucking dead tiefling.
This guy.
This fucking guy.
Yeah.
Kick him a little bit.
Well, there's really nothing else to do but proceed forward because we can't particularly go up.
Upon that most recent kicking, his head kind of like lolls off to the side. His jaw kind of displaces and allows his tongue to roll out of his mouth. His eyes are still staring catatonic kind of up into the space.
I'm just gonna close.
like,
them.
Yeah,
Depending-
Nodder would have
Okay.
closed the eye.
Depending on where you would have stood, it's almost like he was staring at you with like his last.
It's not proper to toy with the corpse this way. Let's move on.
I agree.
Poke it again.
Is there a
With
proper
Penny
way
Volta.
for bait to toy with corpse?
There is no proper way to toy
Just
with a
clarifying.
corpse.
I've tried toying a bunch of ways. It ain't ever worked for bait.
No!
We've already had our fun with this one.
If you see ahead, you would note that the pass looks like it continues down a bit to the
We're
south.
still on the main screen.
I see that. Let me
Mhm.
fix that. There we go. And snap zoom. Looks like the path leads south a ways. And let me check something real quick.
Anyone got them heels?
Oh, hold on a second. Stop moving for a second.
The walls.
Oh,
Have eyes.
heels.
You're not
Yes.
you're not shrinking. It's mainly a process of me having copied and pasted from a different map that was larger. than this.
Bigger.
Oh my god, it's Alice in Wonderland.
Who knows what the rules are in this realm? We could be shrinking.
Yeah.
It's a regular old fun house.
We love to see it. But yeah, it looks like the pass continues on. It looks like there is an alcove or maybe another passage that kind of leads off to the side. The stonework appears to become more uniform. It's more granite than anything else, and the sand appears to be more uniform. It appears to be nothing more than kind of base, kind of just desert sand.
I had a character question.
Shoot.
Do you want to block these walls or do you care?
What do you mean? Oh, you're able to move through them?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Good call out.
Fixed.
Cool.
All right, so it looks like the passage to the side leads off into another chamber, possibly bigger than the one you were in to start with. The passage to the south looks like it continues on for some time.
And just a heads up, I'm like just above quarter health.
Okay. It looks like Aveline and Panavolka and others continue on into this chamber. So it looks like this chamber is 50 feet to a side. The walls are rough cut. Looks like they are a bit more kind of they're not as chiseled and neat as the rooms and hallway you passed through. There's also a strange smell of chlorine present in this chamber. There are benches kind of slotted against the walls. It looks like they've been carved directly from the walls to allow for seating here. There are several aged and rotted garments that are kind of in the sand, discarded throughout. Looks like they're just kind of bits of torn linen, bits of torn, niceties to whatever garments were present here. Nothing identifiable, other than it looks like it might have been robes or garments that would have been temple garments. They look like they were kind of more free steel than anything else.
And they look shredded.
They look like they are just kind of all over inside of the sand. Yeah. If you'd like to make an investigation check, you can to see if there's anything like more substantial here to kind of take hold of. But yeah,
That's a 10.
it's not good enough. Belroth kind of kicking around at the sand, kind of kicks his foot against something, looks down and reaches down and pulls out of the sand a brooch. This brooch looks identical to a brooch you found inside of the Crimson Temple that you came from. Appears to be an identical representation of the brooch of shielding that you found.
Okay.
This room also looks like it's pretty defensible. One entry, other than above you, like falling in from the ceiling, because remember, there is no ceiling. It's just open space above you. But if you would want to kind of take a second to rest here, this would be a decent enough location to do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
huge.
I think that would be a wise decision so we can patch some of our wounds and think of a plan ahead.
Absolutely.
Cotter just plomps his fat butt on the dirt.
I assume you came to travel, so you probably have bedrolls in tow. So if you want to kind of take a rest here, that's fine. I will ask if you are taking watches. I know that Aveline can kind of rest without actually closing her eyes, so that does make for an availability there. And Ballerina is also able to trance and still kind of perceive during it. So watch-wise, you could probably just crash for it. Oh, so is Panavolka. You would be able to kind of rest here without much need for a watch cycle. However, I will have you roll 2d20 to see if a random encounter does resolve or not.
Are we doing a short rest?
Long.
I would love a long rest.
Bless. I'll roll 120.
Okay.
Ugh. 2.
Not it.
Okay.
Altogether, that equals
So a
20.
2 and an 18.
We're gonna get
success.
something.
Very interesting result, Elizabeth. Please roll a d100.
No!
Not the D100.
High rolls
Is
are
there a button for long
high
rest?
rolls are bad.
Yeah.
Low rolls are good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
keep that in mind.
9.
Yo,
Nice.
bless, bless.
Nice.
Nice,
So,
very nice.
even though it was definitely higher than the result, based on the fact that the result was hilarious, 69. Nice.
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 As you're resting and everyone's kind of sleeping, Ballerina, you hear kind of like a sound that's almost like a chime. But it seems like a continuous sound, not like a bunch of chimes. It's just like one kind of long, metallic, continuous sound. And then you hear what sounds like an impact, and the chime sound stops. This appears to happen inside of the hallway that leads up to your area.
Oh.
Does she only hear that, or does everyone hear that?
It's primarily her that kind of hears this instance. I would say that this would probably be during her kind of up cycle while Panavelka's trancing and you are kind of in your catatonic state. If you want to just leave it, you can. If
Yeah.
you want to, okay.
I think just leaving it. If it stopped, that sounds great.
Okay. All right. Well, then everything else goes by pretty much uneventfully. During the waking hours, you come to rise and take in your rations. It doesn't seem that your necessity for food is changed in any way. But when you look down the hallway, you would see that your way appears to be barred. And when I say barred, I mean there is a sword that is stuck in the sand in front of you.
Oh.
Okay, so for long rest, what is the HP recovery again?
All of it.
All of it. I will take
All
that.
of it.
I would take all of it. I want it all.
I want it now.
Does the sword look familiar to us, or
No, not to you. Not to you.
okay?
Where is it? Is it at the front or the back?
Not, or if you go to it and you look, you recognize it immediately. Sword is Shatter Spike.
Oh my god.
Ah.
Daughter's like, it can't be. And pulls it out of the dirt.
It looks.
Does it
There.
have I felt it? I don't know if Daughter's ever
It
felt that
looks-
sword.
It's definitely a sword you probably have seen. I don't know if you've wielded it, but as you kind of pull it out of the sand, you realize that it looks like it is battered. Looks like it has been kind of broken with age. Its edge is definitely not sharp. It looks like it has seen quite a bit of conflict. It almost looks like it's been bitten down upon, which is confusing. But it looks, the hilt looks like it's in perfect condition. And if you aren't familiar with the look of Shatter Spike,
Ooh.
Yeah.
an ornate elvish longsword. Its edge is definitely less neat than the one currently displayed on that image.
Nodder will slide it into his belt.
Okay.
For safekeeping,
Mm-hmm.
shall we proceed then?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Fully rested, you make your way through the area. Heading southwards, you see that there is a man directly to the south. Looks like he's kind of seated in the sand by himself. He has a stick that he's kind of playing at the sand with. He looks up, and as he does so, you kind of realize that, despite what the token shows, he appears to be an elvish male looking at you, and he says, "Oh, hello there. I apologize. I wasn't expecting any company. Can I help you?"
Do you know how you've come here? Do you know how to help us get out?
"Oh, of course I know. I died. I'm assuming you did the same."
Not
No.
exactly.
I was promised that a train would be by to pick me up in short order, but unfortunately it has been a long time coming. He kind of plays at the sand a bit more. Still in his full armor, like completely kitted out as a soldier. Belroth, you would recognize that he appears to be in kind of a mercenary garb. It appears that he has the markings of the Stormsmiths upon him, which is a mercenary company around Nog. The other people besides Belroth, who probably is not well within his state to identify this, would note that he has a certain Belroth-like quality to him.
Hmm.
It's like if Belroth didn't have horns and was older.
Daddy.
Thank you. Jesus Christ.
No.
He looks up to you and says, "Wait, you don't have the glow of death about you. Interesting." And you see him kind of slowly kind of stand up. I'd like everybody make a perception check at that point.
Roth will never recover from this.
Gosh,
Never, ever.
I genuinely hope so. I genuinely hope that Ballerina and Bait, the two of you see as this individual stands up and kind of moves towards you, that there appears to be this strange red line connected to the back of him, like at his foot, that seems to kind of run towards the wall and then run directly up the wall for a good distance. Do you look up?
Yes.
You see about 50 feet up, kind of on the wall, kind of hidden in the shadow of this space, but visible to you now as you look directly at it, this mass of red liquid churning. You can see faces kind of breach out of the liquid every so often. Some of them look strangely familiar. Some of them look horrified, like they're in absolute agony. And this thing just kind of undulates up above. And now that you see it, you can kind of feel like there's this pulse to the room that you're standing in, as this thing seems to be connected in some way to this knight that stands before you. He says, "So you're living. How did you make it here? Was it
We
the renegade?"
do not know who this renegade is, but we followed someone else into.
Was it that foolish boy, Wodakai?
Yes.
I did not think he would fulfill his promise. Interesting.
Of dying?
Oh, is he dead?
Yes.
Very.
He says, "Interesting." But as he says it, his voice turns into a voice of 100, all saying interesting at the same time. And then the voice of 100 says again, "Bring us his body."
What was the deal you made with Wodakai? What was the promise?
You see the elf kind of reach down towards his sword and grasp the hilt.
Oh,
"No. Bring me his body." And it's again the voice of 100 coming out of the mouth of one.
As you wish.
Yeah.
Gonna
Elroth is getting rid of, really sick of this magic shenanigan bullshit.
Aveline rushes back, throws Wodakai's corpse over her shoulder, and then rushes back in and just deposits it in front of the knight.
Do you know the deceiver?
Yes. The voice is again 100 that speak at once. We are well aware of the deceiver.
What was the promise?
Mordecai promised that he would either give us himself or others. He has done both. You see the knight kind of reach down, and as he's kind of reaching out for the body, starts spasming, like just convulsing very heavily, and kind of stops for a second. And this individual's eyes kind of lock on Belroth, and you can see him speak in Elvish. "I'm sorry." And then he kind of starts spasming again and touches the body. The second he does, he kind of stops, calms. And then he just kind of, "Oh, it's been so long." Oh. And just kind of seems to be in this state of euphoria as he's touching Wodakai's corpse.
What?
Bad touch! Bad touch!
Those that saw the line that was behind this strange knight and the goop on the ceiling see that the line seems to be kind of like almost something was coming through it, like a serpent or like a pipe
That's disgusting.
or a
What do I
hose.
roll for emotional damage? Emotional damage!
Oh no.
1dbetterhelp.com.
this episode's sponsored by BetterHelp.
That actually would be a great sponsor for this.
Oh, you're right. For sure. I promise it won't help by the end of the next episode.
Good to know.
How can I ask? How big
Fantastic.
is this line? Does it look like something if I
Very
were
thin.
to
Is it
throw
like-
a dagger at it? No, so I wouldn't cut it. I wouldn't be able to break it with
No, it's very thin. You think you could
Okay.
it's like a strand, but every so often it kind of has a from the body, you presume. But yeah,
A really
think-
fast
Mhm.
sneak.
you think a dagger would sever it.
Bait, if you want
Okay.
to cut it, I support you.
Throw it.
Settles me.
Word.
Just
Yeah, I think
stay
Bait would
by
like
me.
bonus action, steady aim a dagger, and just yeet it at the thing. See what happens.
Yeah, he's very much like into this kind of weird, like it is an awkward silence in between the moment where he starts touching Wodakai's corpse and then you throw the dagger. Like he is literally like, oh, like
Dark Souls
it's like
mode.
it's like
God.
it's like oh.
Should I be
Can we,
here?
can we film this? Can we, like it's
Gotta
like
take a shower.
yeah, I got whoa. But you throw the dagger, and no need to roll. It cuts the line perfectly. The second it does, he starts screaming in 100 voices, but it very much sounds like it's coming through liquid after a couple of seconds, and then it stops, and then he just turns into this reddish goo and starts to spill downwards as the massive goo up above drops
Oh,
heavily
I'm backing up.
immediately slamming down into the ground. You see
Oh,
this massive puddle of red matter hit, and you can see faces kind of splashing out from it onto the grounds nearby, and strands kind of reaching out. If you've ever seen those worms that like shoot out their tongues, like it's like that but grosser, and it just
Yeah.
starts kind of collecting, and you can see that it's on top of Wodokai, and you can see his body inside of this semi-transparent fluid kind of lifting up into him and being dissolved into its body. As that happens, it screams out in agony, and it seems wordless, but it also seems like it's screaming in a language that you can't understand. And yeah, we're gonna start fighting.
fight, 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 fight. Oh, boy.
You're welcome.
I
Appreciate
think we
it.
made it worse. I think we made it worse.
You know what? You're doing great. I was like, this definitely could go bad if they just go peaceful throughout the whole thing, because I don't think I'm going to be able to fill out enough space for 3 episodes. But you made the right choice. You definitely chose content over safety.
Content.
We love that. We love that for you. Everybody got our initiatives on the table, right?
One sec. There we go.
I am looking for the combat music I want.
Better be exciting.
It should be.
I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out that Belroth is currently not okay.
Well,
I assumed.
I would hope so.
That was weird as shit, and he just watched his dad turn into goo.
And say like I'm sorry right before.
Yeah, like he's just like, what?
Poor Belroth.
Just
They
going
need
for-
expensive therapy.
Before we get into this
Oh,
fight, I would like
expensive.
anyone who is trained in Arcana to go ahead and make an Arcana roll.
Nah.
Nah. I think that's all
maybe-
Stephanie.
Yeah.
Panavolka's got it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
There we go.
Okay. Panavolka, Aveline seems to be kind of distant on what this thing might be, but you recognize it from the tomes that you saw in Saburai's Academy. This creature is known as an Oblex. Oblexes are oozes that prey upon the blood, vitae, and souls of living creatures. They consume them and then incorporate them into their self and then utilize them as puppets. They can basically manifest anyone that they have consumed into a puppet-like form that is connected to them tenderly. It seems to have done so with Belroth's father.
Panavalka would convey all that in the accent.
Bellarina looks at Belroth. I'm so sorry.
Before the start of a fight. Hey, by the way.
Belroth, you might see some things that you don't want to see. Steady yourself.
Oh, we love it.
Wouldn't be the first time.
The
All
dread
right.
plains are hellish places.
We love them. They're my favorite. All right, so it looks like Bait, you'll be going first. Go ahead and take your initiative. This thing is filling the chamber. In the picture that you kind of see before you on the token, it does have a puppet manifested, but imagine that that girl is not in front of it. It's just the blob with faces kind of spurring out of the flesh or liquid materia of the thing.
Before we start, I'm sorry, the round, I wanted to ask, from my memory of this, would I know if it has any immunities?
You rolled pretty high. Let me give you some idea as to what you might know about it. So oozes typically have pretty strong, capable resistances against certain kind of melee damage. But since this one is made of vitae, you kind of understand that it is susceptible to physical damage heavily. It is immune to the blinded, charmed, deafened, exhaustion, and prone conditions. It does not see as normal things see, as all oozes do, so it kind of just knows you're there. And you would know that these things are very powerful scions. You also remember from the text that this thing is averse to fire. Burning.
Oh yeah.
It's averse to fire. Okay.
Burn it!
Burn it.
Burn the witch! Wait, it's not a witch.
She turned me into a newt.
I got
Go
that.
better.
The classic. Everyone knows.
All right. So,
Out in the open.
did it roll out in the open?
Yep.
Okay. Well, Bait, you're first. I'll go ahead and change that.
Just so you know.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Zach, if you're talking, you're muted, buddy.
No. Bait would look at Pennyvalka. If Bait touches it, will Bait get hurt?
Probably.
Don't touch it with your skin, please.
Bonus action, steady aim, and he's gonna huck another dagger at it.
Okay. Now, whatever dagger you threw before, it is consumed. Yeah, it is.
That's fine. I have 10. I started with 10 basic daggers, so I have 8 left now.
And you always have one of every kind of dagger in the Bait's bag.
Right.
17 will hit. Give me that damage. And a sneak attack. All right. As you throw this dagger into it, you hit kind of directly in the core of it. You see that in the center, like you're targeting, there's like this strange orb kind of in the center of the goo. And having dealt with oozes in the sewers and whatnot before, you know that the core of the ooze is typically the structure, the what's the center of a cell? Oh, my brain's dumb right now.
Nucleus.
The nucleus
Yeah.
of the ooze is that. Thank you so much.
All I can think is mitochondria.
Right?
I know!
That's the powerhouse.
It's the powerhouse.
Of the cell.
Which makes
Not
me,
the
which most people think of like science thoughts, but I think of Parasite Eve, and I'm like, God, those
fair.
games were rad as fuck. But anyways, yeah, solid hit. Very much kind of like damaging it. The dagger seems to kind of singe away inside of it in this strange, like ooze of it. It seems to kind of consume it.
That's fine.
Very quickly.
Bait's gonna back up to her.
All right. Panavolka.
Okay.
I would say with the fact that you rested, you're obviously not still in the Tensor's transformation from last session.
Yes.
Doesn't 11 hit?
Mm-mm.
Okay, just making sure.
We take a bonus action to kick off a blade song. We use an action to cast Spirit Shroud.
Okay.
Oh no, that's
Bonus
bonus
action.
action. Ugh.
Can't do it.
We use an action to fireball
Okay.
at level 5.
Okay.
34, 47?
That's a lot of damage.
That's a lot of damage.
It does succeed in its saving throw, though.
Oh no.
All right. So
Did the mind
20,
sliver that home?
It's still vulnerable though, right?
47.
Oh,
It's,
it's vulnerable.
it's not
to fire.
vulnerable. No, it has
Oh,
an
no.
aversion to fire. Yeah.
An aversion. Okay. So if we had wall of fire, we could probably just
So,
walk away.
As you kind of like
Mm.
start performing the song, kind of spinning the blade and performing the song perfectly with the dance, you then kind of move your fingers about, pull forward the guano required for the fireball, cast it forward, it turns into a ball of flame, detonates inside of the oblex, and kind of erupts this fire that seems to kind of linger on the exterior of the ooze. It burns like oil on water, like it kind of on the exterior is now kind of lit with flame, but the creature itself starts kind of like moving about wildly and kind of shooting out pseudopods in kind of random directions, and you can hear this loud screaming that is a chorus of all of these different voices like screaming in agony, as if you're burning every single entity that's inside of the oblex, not just this one kind of gooey creature.
What a mean
Think about your
creature.
life choices. You are punishing these creatures for no reason. Benevolga, you son of a bitch. Nodder, you are next on the docket.
Wow.
Fireball was really good. But yeah, you can see that it seems to be in a state of disarray. What that means mechanically, you have advantage on your next attack roll against it, and it has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks until the end of its next turn.
Instead of a tree bar and shield, he's going to use tree bar and a javelin.
Okay.
And he's going to poke at it with the javelin to see if he's actually going to be safe to use his tree bar on the thing. So it's going to be like a...
You're throwing it.
Ah.
It just hits the goo. It doesn't really seem to go into it. Doesn't seem
And
to
then
affect it at all.
And then he goes, it's like the jab and then the haymaker. Bah!
Okay.
He was too scared.
Roll a D100 for me. I know we're not doing fumble stuff, but this could be interesting.
Halo.
Shimmy.
Look at his dumb face.
Baby.
So you swing your axe into it, it catches, but it seems to kind of get consumed by the souls. And you can actually see the faces that are manifesting kind of bite at the shaft, and also like hands kind of appear and kind of start grabbing it. And it kind of pulls the axe in to its form. So you aren't losing it. It doesn't get taken away, but it is very much just embedded inside of the ooze. And you're kind of like, ah! All right. Next up is Aveline.
I'm gonna pew pew firebolt,
We'd love to see it.
and let me get that little bonus there. There we go.
It's kind of on fire at current, so as you kind of fire the bolt, you have the advantage has already been consumed by the javelin.
Oh, I have to move in. I'm sorry.
No, the javelin throw was fine. That one actually hit. I'm sorry. So I will take that damage. But the next attack had advantage against it because of the fire.
Yeah, I didn't move my token to the
No
blob.
worries. Yeah, go ahead and move up to it. But the second attack would have missed. The third attack, or rather the attack from Aveline, would have missed as well. It seems like you've kind of already hit a part. You've hit a part that's already on fire, and it doesn't seem to do much more beyond it already being kind of combusted. Okay, it goes to its turn. Unless you have anything else bonus action wise, Aveline. Good.
I'm good. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
It is going to kind of center itself as best it can. It looks like the kind of center of the core, a lot of the heads and like faces kind of peel inside towards the kind of core of the creature. And then you feel this kind of psychic pulse kind of emanate out from it. And at that point, Belroth, I need you to make a, let's see, wisdom saving throw.
Right,
And
guys.
normally you'd
I
have
have two
advantage if you are fighting it, but because of your distinct issue regarding it, you do not have said advantage.
Wouldn't matter anyway.
Wouldn't matter anyway. You are dominated. You can hear your father's voice, and it actually kind of lingers back to your childhood before he passed, and you're kind of now aware that he is there, and he says, "I'm sorry, but if you kill them all, we can be together. Please, do this for me. I failed you.
Shit again.
Please do not fail me." Oh shit, it's your turn. Use your action to kill one of your friends. I don't care which one.
Oh, no.
We're gonna.
Oh, what type of manipulation? Oh, that goes so deep. Please do not.
Who are you gonna
fail.
kill?
you can flip a coin.
You can kill Magpie.
Okay. So.
Yeah, technically it
going
has to
for?
give you an order that's very specific. Attack that creature. Attack that creature will be the creature of your choice, either ballerina or bait. Your choice. I don't care.
Okay, so 1 and 2 is bait, 3 and 4 is ballerina. Shit. Okay.
Bait it
Oh,
is.
Imagine this scene too,
No.
like from the slimes, like if the camera was pointed from the slimes perspective, it's like literally all the way in the back, and she's standing there. Or
Yeah,
Belroth is standing there.
And
he
he's
just like pulls his sword, like so, because he rolled really bad on that wisdom save. Like, it's not him fighting it. This is literally just him, like,
moving into it.
fuck.
Trauma.
Yeah, a 20 hit bait.
no.
21.
Yes, 21 and a 26 will both hit.
20 total
When you
damage.
stab me in the back, because I imagine he's facing the other way.
Yeah, like this is a,
Bait's like, let's go.
Let's see. During this time, you can use your action to take total. Each other target takes damage. It can make so you don't get a saving throw at the end of your turn. You are charmed by the Oblex and you are dominated by the Oblex, which means that it dictates how your turns go. So Belroth, good turn. We love to see it. Ballerina, as you kind of snap around, seeing Belroth kind of mad, just attacking at bait. There's a wildness in his eyes. You have seen this before in your history. You know that Belroth is not cognizant of his own powers. This happened to Duralis. This happened to other sentinels that were consumed by Oru.
Yeah.
And he just attacked the one party member who's willing to attack back.
Yeah.
Just does not give a fuck.
Oh shit. Hold on.
Emotional damage.
Because now that thing in front is not what she's worried about.
Oh no, yeah, the paradigm is definitely shifted. We love to see that.
Oh shit. Sorry, I'm reading my spells again.
No worries.
Uh,
I'm also checking something for you regarding Paladin.
yeah.
Lay on Hands gets rid of.
I don't think that works.
Spend 5 to get rid of disease only. Okay.
Yeah.
Or poison.
Yeah, it doesn't work on that.
This is actually the first time I've drank alcohol since Gen Con.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
No.
Oh no.
I should have drank more.
Oh no.
Anyway, how would you like to proceed?
Do I know if there is a way not magically to snap him out of it, other than just like
Hitting him
snap?
might cause a reflection. Hitting the Oblex might also cause the Oblex to lose
Right.
concentration on the spell or the
Okay.
control.
Right. Oh, okay. I can only do one or the other. Fuck. Shit. Sorry. I'm just gonna try and sacred flame. No.
So if you're playing Balra, or say you're playing the Oblex.
Belroth.
All right, Balroth, make a dexterity saving throw. Mhm.
Fuck.
Belroth like angrily kind of jumps to the side, shield up, sword up, kind of looking at Ballerina now more as kind of a target. And the Oblex whispers kind of like, yes, the elf. Probably more pertinent a target. And it sounds like your father speaking. But you can also in the background hear like a chorus of voices saying the exact same thing. It's fucking weird. Like the connection you currently have.
This is final boss energy right here.
Oh, wait.
This might be his final boss.
No.
It's definitely
no.
not.
I do
It's
want,
definitely
I
not.
do want to stress something. No.
It's definitely not.
Bait, you're up.
But this is a good C.
Here. Oh, I can't show you yet.
Bait's gonna bonus action rage, switch to a combat knife, and attack Belroth with the combat knife. This is
Okay.
a 26 hit.
Yeah.
Guys.
15 does not. Take 32 damage, Belroth.
I'm so
And
Mm,
make a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to spend inspiration?
I don't have any. I
Wait.
haven't been
I
fun.
do it.
Hold on.
Gigi will
Somebody
spend.
has some.
Okay. So
I
also-
bless.
as Bait kind of turns around and just angrily kind of slashes out your thigh, just kind of tearing a good chunk out of it with a combat knife, kind of like looks up at you angrily. Belroth, your eyes kind of snap, and Bait, you kind of see Belroth's demeanor go from like angry, focused on you, kind of turning towards Ballerina to like a probably like a magpie. I'm assuming like a holy shit, like a
Yeah, just like fuck.
like a, almost like oh god, I did it again.
What did I do?
All right, Bait, do you have any
He's done this before.
bonus
This is a
actions?
bad time for Belroth.
My bonus
Oh.
action was raging.
Oh, right. Okay, cool.
Oh no.
Okay. All right. We love that for you. Panavalka, you are up. It does look like the matter behind you is not really resolved. It is a hot mess of what the fuck. But there's also this thing in front of you, and it looks like it has burned away a lot of it with the fire and damage that has been presented to it thus far.
Is anyone else still charmed?
You would kind of
Don't know.
sense the magic of it. It looks like Belroth was just shocked out of whatever Belroth was put under.
Mhm.
It would be your presumption.
Okay.
Enchanting magic is pretty popular in Zavarius, so
I don't have time to deal with that right now. Move forward.
burn the thing.
We do a. Okay, I'm gonna use a bonus. Wait, is radiance? Is that considered burning? Not really, right?
No.
Radiant damage. Okay. So we're gonna use the green flame blade cantrip.
We love that. 10'll miss.
Every time.
Hold on.
Oh my god.
Hold on. No. Sorry. You didn't
What?
make you didn't make an attack with the green flame blade, but that 10 will be
Oh, that's my 10. Okay, so I have one more. I have one more.
Yes. The green flame blade just rolled the damage.
Every time. Every
I believe
single
in you.
time.
I
Same.
believe in you.
Also, sorry, with
Miso's-
I gotta be consistent with that 10. Can you roll a d100 for me?
21?
So the second attack will actually be a wash. Basically, you rush forward, the flame like on the blade kind of like emanating as you kind of lunge forward. And as you're kind of moving towards the creature, you see that the green flame kind of like evaporates quickly as you kind of lance into it. The blade actually sticks inside of it, and you can see hands and like teeth kind of biting at the blade, pulling it into itself. And you're kind of like, what the fuck? as it goes all the way down to like the sword guard, and you're kind of stuck in there. And as you want to make the second attack, you kind of lunge forward a little bit, and it doesn't really do anything. You're just kind of in this tug of war with the thing. On your next turn, you can make an athletics check to kind of remove yourself from this situation. Nodder, you are currently axe deep in the creature.
Nodder.
If you'd like to remove the axe, it would be an athletics check, and it would count as one of
Yeah.
your attacks.
Nodder will buckle down, spread his legs out, shove the javelin into the dirt, and pull out his axe.
Okay, go ahead and make it. Yeah, well, yeah.
Hell yeah,
And now
you do.
as you kind of lift this bad boy out of the ooze, there's like this large spray of red that flies behind you, and you've got the axe up in the air. You want to use your second attack to just bury the bitch in the thing?
Yeah.
Make an attack. Yeah, 16 will hit for, looks like 10 damage. All right.
Yeah.
You kind of cleanly slice through it. If you've ever seen Jello get cut in half, that's kind of like what happens with the axe. Is kind of cuts through it, and you can see it kind of just start opening, and then the inside start leaking out. It's kind of spilling out on the ground.
It's like one of those weird vegetable, like Jello salad things.
Yeah. It's absolutely one of, like, from the 50s. Is that what you're talking about? Like the ones that they have? Yeah, it's 100% that. And I was actually going a really interesting point, because you actually see like the face of a person kind of slide out the side of it and kind of like splash on the ground, and it's like the face remains kind of laying on the floor for a couple of seconds as it slowly dissolves into just red liquid and goo. Happily. Just kind of like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
Jeez.
I am gonna Scorching Ray.
Bam. That'll hit.
And do I do it 3 times or just one?
Just one. So you'll click on the damage, which you can do by pressing Scorching Ray. There you go. That's not the greatest of roll.
Oh, I also get this. Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh, Scorching Ray. Scorching Ray says, okay, hold on. Sorry. Roll it 2 more times. That's correct.
Okay.
Sorry. I
Sorry.
was thinking.
Yay.
Do I roll the
Attack.
D8 also
You
for
roll
the...
you roll the attack each time. So I need 2 more attacks from it.
Oh, did I
And-
not just do that?
No, you just roll the damage. Sorry.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's my fault. I thought you were saying Firebolt. That hits, and the last one, that'll miss. All right.
Okay,
so
so-
it'll be 8 plus. Give me a D8.
Do.
So 14. Okay, cool. As you kind of fire the scorching rays, one of them kind of goes upwards, and the other 2 kind of go towards the middle, kind of forming like a triangulated pattern. The 2 on the bottom hit and cause it to kind of shrink inwards towards the source of the wound, and the top one kind of misses over top of it. But as it's kind of burning in that state, it kind of just starts lashing about in like almost like a maelstrom on the ground, very panicking. And faces actually start to sling out from the thing, splashing on the wall. You can see them slowly sliding down, these red, just kind of faces. And Belroth, in your horror, like right around here-ish, you can see the face of your father sliding down the stone wall. Goes to it. It is very much in panic mode, so it's just going to start slapping. Lots of slaps.
Slapping.
Slapping Nodder, slapping, wow. Oh, god damn it. Okay, so Nodder, I crit.
Oh shit.
Holy shit. I gotta do math. Bear with me here. This is a lot. Did not
I
expect.
also can't spell.
Don't kill him with his own story.
I don't think I'm gonna kill him, but it's definitely gonna be a large hit. The pseudopod that slaps you does a total of 57 points of damage as it crits. You are not currently raging, if I remember correctly. Yeah, and then Penavalka, the hit that hits you hits a 23 AC, which misses, right? Yeah. You see it kind of slap out towards you. You very deftly kind of dance and duck underneath it as the pseudopod kind of swings over top of you. But with the magnitude that it moved, you're pretty sure it would have cleaved like a good portion of you off. Even without critting, it would have been 38 damage. So
No, that's a lot of damage.
yeah,
A lot of damage.
it was not fucking around in those rolls. All right, Belroth, you return to consciousness. Bait is still hostile to you, right or no?
Bait would have taken the one crack at like his knee with the like knuckles of the combat knife, saw the like anger come out of his eyes and said, "Good. and then turned around again, like imagining like, fuck with me again, buddy, and I'll do it again.
Yeah.
You hit me for 17, I hit you for 32. Let's go.
Right.
Fuck around. Fuck around and find out.
Exactly it.
Okay.
That's all he needed. Just one good pop to the knee.
I love it. He used to be
It's
an
his bad
adventurer like
knee.
you.
Right. Yeah. I'm just gonna say.
I love that you're like, I have no idea what to do in this moment.
I don't think he does either. Like he's
yeah,
literally
no.
watching his dad drip down a wall
If you know what?
after possessing him.
Yeah.
If you want, breaking down and crying is an action.
Like I don't know.
Spend my turn going prone into the fetal position.
It's a lot. That would be a lot for any person.
I don't know if I could deal. I don't know
Like
if I could do.
walks into this room, sees his dad there, realizes that his dad has been possessed by some creepy ass death demon thing, and then is possessed by creepy ass death demon dad thing, and then watches him splat against the wall.
We love this.
Like
Yeah. Play the character, not the game.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't want to take an action, I completely understand. Did you just fart? Look at this fucking stinky boy. He just tooted.
He's like, I thought we were done. I thought it was okay. I was holding it in.
Oh my god, bad boy.
Okay.
Stinky
Okay.
boy. Okay. So
You
yeah,
picked him up and squeezed it out of him.
that's probably what happened, to be honest. I've been feeding him
Okay.
these jumbo stuffed treats, and he really likes them real well. And apparently, yeah, they give
Apparently
him gas.
his tummy doesn't like him real well.
Well, no, he's fine. Nayland seems to not do well with them, but yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
Cat's a
So I think he's honestly just standing there, just like
I appreciate that.
shifting his grip on his sword, just like I don't think he knows what to do at this point.
Love it.
Like it's gonna take someone just like honestly just telling him
And
to do
sweating.
something.
Do it.
Ballerina. You're a ballerina.
Yeah. We are going to just run up.
Yep.
Yeah.
What else?
And-
35 feet. We got this.
Yep. And we are, as bonus action, righteous brand.
Get inspiration, Dujo.
What did you do?
The gift
What did they do?
in the Discord.
Oh, I'll look after. Righteous brand.
Oh my god. Literally
And
Balrog. Yeah.
That is gonna.
think
The first one's gonna
first
hit.
one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
So that's
So as you kind of rush forward with the hammer, kind of raising the shield up in the defensive pattern and bringing it down, you actually smash into it deeply enough that it kind of bursts. The radiance kind of shines out from the center of it. The creature kind of distorts in the center, and you see it kind of writhing. All the faces immediately kind of turn to like a satin face. Then they start kind of melting in the thing, and all of it just kind of into an ooze on the ground, or into a puddle on the ground.
yeah.
And it appears that the Obelix is now deceased.
Nice. And turns around and looks at Belroth.
The other thing you'll note.
Need you
Oh, go ahead.
and need you to get your head back in the game.
Snap out of it.
The other thing you would notice about
You can
the
mourn later.
puddle is as it kind of fully manifests, you can see kind of bones and bits of creatures. Very massive pile of refuse, of mortal refuse, kind of left in its wake.
Are there like any bits of armor or weapons or anything like that?
Not really. But you do see that there is one hand that appears to have a ring on its left hand, ring finger.
Am I gonna cry?
The band does look familiar.
Oh, no.
I'm gonna give myself inspiration.
Honestly, I'm not mad about that.
I was like, what would there be? You know what? What would be the saddest fucking thing? His wedding band. Yeah, it does appear to be
Yeah.
a white gold band on his left hand, or on a left hand.
Yeah. Belroth is gonna need to take that.
Okay. Looking beyond, it looks like there is a passageway that leads to the west or to the side. You don't really know cardinal direction to current, but based on the map, I mean to say, looks like to the west would be the next direction.
So everything's gone. Like even Wodakai's body is gone.
Yeah, it's all just bones and bits.
Mm.
As the
These
rest of the
obliques.
party is starting to walk out, Bait is going to like grab Belroth's tunic and kind of hold him in the chamber for a second. And he looks up at Belroth. Dragon elf. Not many catch me off guard. Bait appreciates this. He hands you a dagger out of his bag, and you can see it's got a special like wrap around the handle, and it's carved with a B and B. Here, you earned it.
Aww, Bait and
Aw.
Belroth.
And then as he turns to walk away, you hear him under his breath, happens again, I drop you.
Hey.
Oh, I love this character.
We love it.
Well, at least Belroth isn't gonna cry now. Okay.
Kind of awkward. As you
Yeah,
kind
at
of
least.
move into the space, you can see that the room is pretty much just all pumice. The walls are pumice. The floors appear to be just broken up shards of pumice. But in the wall to the north of you, like just entombed inside of it, is this churning wax in a kind of circular like pattern inside of the stone, just on the north side. Looking at it a second time, you would realize that this strange kind of bubbling, churning wax appears to be kind of like manipulated and moving with kind of flame. It seems like it's kind of a dance between this kind of wax substance and possibly some sort of flame source within. But other than that, chamber is pretty much uneventful. And looks like there
What
is
the fuck is that?
gross. It is gross.
Do the walls seem to be made out of the same waxy substance?
Pumice.
Pumice.
It's all pumice. I don't know if you're familiar with pumice, but it's a volcanic
Yeah.
kind of stone.
You use
That's
it to
very
like
strange.
scrub.
Ah! I didn't want to go over
Okay.
Not
Does
not
anybody
poking
want to put like a stick in it or something?
there. Notter's not doing it. He already walked over the death skull. That's
I mean,
Belroth,
yeah, Bella's gonna
you've
go
had
poke
enough.
it. Okay.
Belroth, you've had enough punishment.
Oh wait, Notter will pick up a javelin and throw it at the wall.
Into the wax, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
It hits, kind of moves about with the churning, but eventually gets kind of deposited outwards with like a bit of wax on the tip, or like half that kind of entered into it.
He'll pick the javelin back up and look at it, I guess.
If you have religion trained, you can make a religion check to kind of like try and understand why this would be a thing. Like, what's the purpose of this?
Panavalka will check it out.
Okay.
28?
Wow. Okay. Lots coming in. Ready for lore. And also, Aveline, you would be pretty competently aware of this as well, so keep this in mind. Wax has basically served as a representation of kind of purifying one's kind of body. Hot wax is kind of dispensed onto the form of a person and then peeled away to remove not only kind of dirt and grime, but also kind of like hair as well, to kind of purify the body for religious reasons. This is a replacement from older traditions of placing ash on a person and then kind of scrubbing that into a person to kind of right the person and kind of create a blessed
Donna.
state of purity. From some traditions that were so ancient they're hardly remembered.
Ancestral, you might say.
And possibly ancestral.
Okay.
The ancestors. But wax is a servant as kind of like a replacement of that. It's means of purifying the body without having to rely on wearing the purification method.
Mm-hmm. But why here?
Perhaps
Why
you're,
like this?
perhaps you're in some sort of temple, yet undefined to you.
Okay. This
Holy
is
robes in the
To
other
the ground.
room. Sacramental wax in this room.
this is
Indeed.
a holy place, or perhaps an unholy place.
I'm gonna go with unholy.
Based on past experience.
Just
We'll call it.
throwing
we'll
it
call
out
it
there.
spiritual.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Spiritual.
vibe check. This shit's not right.
This shit ain't right.
But yeah, it looks like there is a T.
Just feeling.
There's a T intersection to the left of you.
Any reason why, why that's
Hmm.
popping up?
Explore that. Okay, so to the left, it looks like leads to more corridors. To the right, you can actually see a bit of a
Oh
chamber.
god.
It doesn't immediately kind of assail you or anything, so just keep that in mind. The icons are there just for denotation of positioning. The room to the north that you see there, you can see that there's a statue, a smaller statue, kind of placed in the center of this chamber. The statue in the center of the chamber is an old religious icon, a kind of demon-like creature. In its eye sockets are two massive rubies. The same is true of the smaller statue. They appear to be almost constructed in a nature that would depict like a parental kind of aspect here. One that is older, one that is younger. These eidolons, as they're called, appear to have been kind of designed or crafted in a way to kind of create an almost goblin-like nature.
Mhm.
And that's actually a perfect gift, yes. That being said, the chamber does have kind of a solid kind of spacing to it. Directly above you, there's a light, starlight that seems to be shining directly on these eidolons.
Does it look like there's any writing on them at all?
No writing. They appear to be made entirely out of gold. And it looks like their eyes are just large rubies set inside of their eye sockets. And if you're trained in religion, you would know this very primal aspect is a chaotic being that was worshipped by primitives in the far, far long shot past that were cannibalistic, opportunistic, and kind of just very much beings bent on gaining power. It would seem that these primeval gods that are kind of presented before you in these statues seem to be kind of the nature of that mentality seems to be kind of contrast by the fact that they are kind of closely holding hands and there's a parental and childlike figure. the idea of kind of like the self-serving god versus these two that are kind of depicted in this pattern.
Well, you gotta pass down cannibalism one way or another, I guess.
Do you?
Well, I mean, if you do.
Notter's not sure what we can gather from this. So he will move on,
Okay.
unfortunately.
As you're kind of moving around the statue and looking at it, moving away from it, you would see that in the hands of the larger statue that's not holding the hand of the smaller statue, there appear to be two black crystals kind of held in a weird kind of grasp. These black crystals seem to kind of have an almost rhythmic kind of pulse to them. Like they seem to be glowing from inside with this dark light. But yeah, you move past.
Is it?
Okay.
Wait, nope, we're back in.
Um,
So if
Belra.
Anavalka would notice that, oh, go ahead, Belra.
Yeah, no, he would have lingered behind him, was kind of like circling the
Okay.
statue.
Yeah, it looks like the statues are just kind of standing out on the sands. It doesn't look like they have like a plinth or anything like that they've been built up onto. And then looking at the hand of the larger statue, you see the two black crystals in its hands, kind of pulsing and moving with a bit of light. The smaller statue has nothing in its open, kind of offset hand, the one that's not holding the larger statue's hand. Panavolka, you can make a religion check if you're kind of inspecting the black crystals. Holy shit.
29.
They're soul stones, or soul shards, as they are known. Basically, pieces of the astral gate as it was broken during the Song of Creation that are competent on holding the souls of those that have died. And it looks like the contents within, based on what you're seeing, appear to be aleps. And if you are not personally familiar with aleps, I know that the my mentality on aleps is a bit different than the new mentality on aleps.
Can you spell that?
ALLIP.
It's like one lip, but it's all lips.
All lip. Yeah. The alep is in modernity kind of I will say this. There's a trigger warning, content warning here regarding suicide. If you don't want me to go that route, I will go with the new mentality on aleps. But if you're okay with the content, I will kind of move into like the traditional sense of what an alep is. How would you like me to proceed? Is suicide an okay? Like, are we okay with that? Is there any? No.
I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm good.
So aleps are basically people who, due to like a very large and traumatizing scenario, have committed suicide, and in doing so have created a dichotomy or like a almost like a feedback loop of them having something that they need to continue to do, but also being dead and having caused their own death. So like because of that traumatizing situation, whatever caused them to take their own lives, they've created a feedback loop of them being undead and having to resolve something that's unresolvable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. In modernity, they're kind of just something that's kind of found a hidden truth of the cosmic order, which, I mean, is fine. But in my mentality, aleps are very much kind of this
Tragic.
very tragic kind of undead. But that's fine. That said, these aleps, since we're going with this the more traditional sense of alep, are, it appears that they're two souls that have taken their own lives in this strange kind of means to cause themselves to be undead, bound inside these crystals. If these crystals were broken for whatever reason, they would come forth. And they're not unpowerful. They're kind of wraith-like, if you're familiar with how a wraith acts. Just a bit more, they have their own kind of specializations.
So if Belroth were to start reaching for the shiny crystals,
Well, I wouldn't say they're shiny. They're kind of shining with a
Well,
black
they're-
light.
yeah, they're doing weird things.
They're
Be careful
glowy.
with these, they're quite dangerous. Perhaps too dangerous for us to leave here. We may need to take them with us. Madam Aveline, you're familiar with such things, I believe. These are aleps. Do you think it's wise for us to remove them?
They should remain in there if you don't break the crystals, but I don't know why you would want to take it.
Well,
I
I
take it.
think I wonder if we were to encounter something else here in these in this temple, and they use these against us as a weapon. Is what I'm pondering could happen.
Belroth takes them.
Okay.
Well-
These must not break.
You reach up into the hand and kind of maneuver them out of the golden fingers of the Eidolon and kind of take them into your hands. As you're kind of holding them, there's this sense of malaise that kind of fills you as you're holding them. It doesn't consume you, but like it doesn't consume you. It just feels like initially it was like motivated. Let's get them, and then you got them out and you're holding them in your hand, and it's kind of like, the fuck was the point? The fuck is the point of anything? Like there's just this sense of like malaise that just kind of fills you. Like if you've ever had like a bad day where you're just
Yeah.
like, you know what, fuck it. Like I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna do nothing. Like I don't want to do anything. That's the mentality that you get while you're holding these. But you very quickly disregard that, like discard that thought, going, okay, and then put them into your pouch. And it's kind of
Yeah.
like it lingers for a little while, but you can kind of feel it pulling out of you, almost as if like
Mostly because I already felt that way.
Yeah. So it's like stack the like, oh god, my father died horribly and was consumed by an oblex. Also, I'm carrying these people who committed seppuku, unalived themselves. Yeah, like, yeah. Oh my god, we're gonna get banned off Twitch. I don't know how this works. It's not like anybody's watching.
In a video game.
In a video game. This is a video game. We're on video.
We are gaming on video.
Exactly what I was gonna say, but reverse.
I literally have this argument with my spouse every single week. Don't you have your video games tonight? No.
Oh no.
It is a game and it's on video.
So I think last thing before we move on, would Panavalka know of any like ritual or process that could be undertaken to sort of purify the aleps and like neutralize them, even if it means taking them back home? Okay, so like busting them open, letting them,
No, destroy the alep. The only way to purify an alep is destroy it.
Which means
the creatures
fighting it.
Yeah, the creatures inside of the gemstones need to be destroyed.
Okay.
The undead creatures that reside with them.
Well, we'll take it back to wherever we came from and destroy them.
And being familiar with undead, you would know too that like destruction of an undead, specifically an incorporeal one, means that it's terminated from existence for eternity. Like it's just
good.
Soul destruction.
It should be.
But yeah, looks like you're heading off to the left. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like there's a pretty open position to the left, and it looks like there's another passageway that leads to the north. The open position to the left. Checking to see if there's anything of interest or substance worth noting here. And there is indeed. So you would see that the walls on the left side appear to have all sorts of devices that actually really expand upon your imagination, that are on the walls, that line the walls all the way up to their 50-foot heights. All of these devices that are present on the walls appear to be torture implements. You have different types of vices connected to the walls, different types of devices kind of hanging for implementation. I don't know if you're familiar with like kind of medieval torture implements, but there's some pretty gruesome ones. I can't remember the name of the one where you screw it and it opens up the bulb inside of a person's like orifice to like, yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it's disgusting. But like all of these devices are kind of present on the wall. It looks like to an artificer, it's kind of like, oh wow, that's a really interesting idea. But like in the scope of it all, it's horrifying. There are thousands of these implements kind of lining the walls, and it doesn't look like any of them have been used as of recent. It just looks like they're all pristine, sterling steel, kind of clean, neat, and ornate.
You mean the pair of anguish?
Pair of anguish. Thank you so much. Yes, that is the one I mean. That shit is horrifying, dude. The artificer, of course, knows exactly the name of the thing.
I was like, it's something of anguish, and I had to think about it for a minute.
Yeah, I was like, is it bulb or is it a fruit? But yeah, it's
Somehow
definitely
bulb is worse.
Yeah, bulb would probably be weirder.
There's something, there's something unsettling about that image.
But yeah, no, it's I'm just gonna post a picture of it probably here in a second. But moving on, there are a bunch of implements of torture in this kind of small alcove to the north. It looks like stacked from the floor to the top is a massive pile of bodies that are just kind of stacked neatly and ornately, 2 by 2, kind of stacked like firewood in this little alcove, and it rises all the way up to the top. And from what you can see, it might rise even beyond that.
Do they have the same kind of like nature as real kind of corporeal natural corpses, or are they sort of spiritual in nature?
They appear to be physical corpses.
That's weird.
And they stacked it all the way to the top of this, to like the rock.
Yeah, even higher
lip.
even. Yeah. Do you wish to search any of the implements or like the wall for anything in particular or anything of interest, or the bodies at all?
Nodder
Oh, go ahead, Nodder.
Nodder would look at the bodies, knowing that this is a dread realm, seeing if there's any faces that he'd recognize.
Make an investigation check.
Investigation. Oh, it's my weakest.
Okay. I know Nodder would see that there are plenty of bear folk representation in this stack, which is concerning. I would say at least a 6 of the bodies presented here are bear folk. What were you saying, Stephanie?
I'm gonna scope the wall a little bit more, see how it compares to Gulthias's torture chambers.
Investigation check as well. You would, even with an 11, you would note that a lot of the implements that are present here are similar to devices that were seen in Gulthias's Tornor Keep. But there are also a lot of more modern representations of torture devices that would be kind of things that you would be more familiar with, having dealt with Harrigan, like knowing that these items have been kind of streamlined. Some of them were seen as barbaric, like the pair, but more kind of streamlined devices are present on this wall as well.
Panavalka would also like to investigate the bodies for any information that stands out. 20.
You would see that on the very bottom of the stack there is a bear folk, which is notable, but you'd see that its hand appears to be gripped, which would be a thing that Nodder would have probably not paid attention to the fact that it was a bear folk. Probably more focus on that. It seems to be gripping something in its hand.
Okay, Panavalka would try to unravel it.
Pull open the claws of the creature, and inside of its paw, you'd see that there's a solid black pearl kind of settled inside of his palm. Gonna remove that, looking it over.
I like that.
Has interesting markers denoting that it's probably some sort of pearl of power. It's not too dissimilar from the Pearl of Power that I believe you've already kind of found in the other chamber. However, this one is a different color. It's like the inverse of the other one.
How does the size like compare to the orbs that were on the statue in the previous room?
So this is just a small pearl. It's not a
Oh,
massive.
small. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it would be something you could set inside of like a ring or what have you.
Okay.
Could Aveline identify it?
Yeah, if she takes the 10 minutes to do so, it is a pearl of power. And it appears to already have a spell imbued in it.
While they're looking at the pearl, Nodder will hand Bait the wax tip javelin and be like, would you be able to climb up there and poke up to see if the ceiling is truly open?
Yeah, Bait'll grab the javelin and see if he can poke at the ceiling with his knife. He'll crawl up, obviously, and
Up the stone wall here. The stone in here is just kind of granite, but you're able to kind of make your way up to the top. Once you get to the top, there's this kind of strange breeze, like outside of the space, and when you poke up, it's empty. It's hollow. You can actually kind of get up on top of the stone structure up above and kind of stand there. But doing so is very vertigo-inducing because there is no ground outside of the space. It's solid blackness in every direction.
okay. Then
seems-
I do my best to try to describe that to Nodder.
It seems like this structure, stone and sand, is kind of built in the midst of just the dark void.
It stands alone in this space.
Correct.
There you go.
Can we tell what spell is in the pearl?
Oh, inside of the pearl, yeah, it's animate dead.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I don't like that.
So normally a Pearl of Power just holds a spell slot. This one appears to be in its current state, holding a 3rd level spell slot used for casting that spell. All right. Looks like there is a passageway that leads north.
Let us go forward.
All right.
Aveline, look at it.
Looking up ahead, you can see that the space ahead is kind of strangely kind of glowing to the north with this ghost light. It's like an eerie green kind of light. There does seem to be a passage that leads to the right. If you'd like to take it instead, but there's kind of a ghost light kind of glowing in this direction.
Which way, guys?
That seems interesting to me, so I want to try and like
The north?
see. Yeah, if people want to
Also
go
interested
there,
in the north.
but I'm
Let's
not
go
gonna,
north.
like,
Let's go
okay.
north.
In the very northern section, this kind of alcove, you see a massive painting. The painting does appear to have a bronze icon kind of noted below it. The painting looks as such. It appears to be a blue-scaled dragonborn holding 2 swords. The title is Lord of the Manor. He appears to be inside of the Bitterheart Forest.
Shit.
Does that look familiar to you, Nodder?
It looks like an artist's representation of a fellow compatriot of both Aveline and Nodder, one hero rock scale.
Nodder looks at Shatterspike and then starts to consider that this could be the dread realm of his old friend.
The chamber besides appears to have stone alcoves that look like they are filled with books. The books in question appear to have titles that are written in very, very strange languages. A couple are kind of notable, Draconic being a very common one, but the other languages appear to be languages of the Far Plains and also languages of the Realm of Death. Sorry, I'm turning off my printer because my cat is fucking with it. The books in question kind of fill out all of these kind of stone alcoves on the side walls. And in the center, in the sands, it looks like the sands have been kind of neatly groomed, like a sand garden, in kind of like a spiraling pattern that seems to have that seems to have 3 large extremities out from it. If you are trained in religion, you can make a religion roll based on the sand marker.
God, it
27.
would be lost
Where the fuck
without
were
you
these
guys.
rolls when I'm like fighting in melee?
Aveline and
We-
Panivolka would notice that this symbol, which is a kind of spiral with 3 kind of arms to it, is known as an atma. Atmas are symbols used by chaos influenced individuals as kind of an icon of just destruction, wanton destruction, and a disregard for order. It's also seen as some people, with Panivolka's result, as a notifier of the demise of fate. It is a time and chronomancer focused, inspired symbol. It refers to the 3 arches of time, past, present, and future.
Do we know that one of those arches is busted?
No.
Any useful books in Draconic or Infernal?
There's just a shit ton of books, and as you're kind of going through them, like, you're seeing that the titles appear to be indicators of battles. Like, it seems to just be a massive compilation of just historical battles. There's the Battle of the Mere, there's the Battle of Red Sands, there is the entire diatribe of the Osirian Taiagai Shitai Wars, both the first and the second ones. There's a shit ton of texts on military strategy and military function.
If Panavalka picks up a book, does that mean you have to write the whole book for me?
I will eventually write most of the books that I just said out loud, so
Okay.
yeah.
So yes.
But by write the book, I mean like write a stub inside of a wiki. Yes.
God damn it. I'll take it.
It's the best I can give you. I'm sorry.
We'll pocket a book
All right.
at random.
Fair enough.
Are there any battles that would seem familiar to Belroth?
One stands out to you as kind of noteworthy. You walk over to it and it says the Battle of Fort Fairguard, Fargard. And as you kind of pull it off of the wall, you remember that your father had mentioned something similar. It happened not too long before you were kind of coming of age. It was a battle that happened between House Sereda, which is the kind of defensive force of Nock, and also against a wild force from the lands of Taw to the southwest of Fort Fairguard. You remember that Fort Fairguard fell, and all of the military individuals that were present there kind of became mercenaries thereafter. It seems that there are notes inside of this book in the bylines, written in Draconic, which I believe you can understand. You would see that it appears the person who is writing these notes, almost as if they were there, explaining that this text has the wrong of it. The challenge was made by Lord Balnoran with insistence on the destruction of the Bear Folk Lord who attacked Fairguard. You would then note that at the very end of the book, it seems that there's a name written in the back that appears to be the person who is writing these notations based on the handwriting. Someone who calls themselves Hero.
Okay. I'm keeping that.
You're muted, David, but I'm sure you said something hilarious.
I was like, Nader hasn't looked at a single book to know this. No.
Oh, sorry, Zach.
By the Bear Lord.
Zach, I do want to apologize. The painting in question is very familiar to you, by the way. If you didn't
Do
catch
I
it.
recognize him from the painting?
Yeah.
Okay. I imagine Bait then probably hasn't stopped looking up at the painting And if anyone is looking at Bait, he's twirling a dagger you've never seen before, but is the first dagger you've seen that looks like a shit normal dagger. There's nothing special about it. There's no extra like wrapping. There's no carvings. There's no dings. It's just
It is literally an iron dagger.
Yeah, it is iron dagger off shelf number 12, you know? But he's like twirling that in his hands aimlessly while staring straight up at this painting.
Did you know him?
He saved me.
Nodder turns around to that. You knew Hero?
This was his. He holds up the dagger. He gave it to me. Helped me get out of cage. First time Bait was free.
How noble.
Hero was a good man. Dragon.
He disappeared before Bait could thank him, and Bait has held on to his dagger ever since. Bait would like to give it back.
Mm.
I'm not gonna be the one to tell him. And she just like walks away.
Probably Aveline and Nodder exchange a look, and then she walks away. Nodder, you remember that before you and Hero kind of took to working together, he did mention there was an instance where he fought against a goblin tribe. And this was actually a portion of your back. And he lost a lot of his compatriots at that. That was his kind of psychotic, like, I'm very focused on the people I lost, friends I lost. The goblin tribe that you remember that was kind of butchered at the time was known as the Outcasts, also known as, more specifically, the checking my notes here, hold on a second. The Outcast Bound. And you would later learn the Outcast was Bellic, the druid that maintained the Gulthias tree.
Oh my, yeah, it all came full circle.
That's what we're trying to do,
It, John, what?
Excellent. Almost like
I
you
don't think
planned
he's
this.
actually watching.
Definitely not. Great. I hope for you we get to have a satisfying meeting.
If he's on this painting, then he should be here, no?
Yeah, the bronze kind of placard says Lord of the Manor.
Yeah, Bait can't read that.
You know what? I love that for him.
if it's not in Bait, if Bait can't read it.
You know what?
Adeline-
I'm here for our limited literacy characters.
Oh, yes.
We grow together.
They're
Adeline will
doing their
kinda look-
best.
Kind of look down at him and just be like, well,
He
gosh, I
might
know
be
what I was
here.
gonna say. Don't be don't be disappointed if we end up meeting him. He might not be as you remember.
Did something happen to Hero? He looks concerned,
Yes.
but prepared for bad news.
Yeah,
Adeline,
there's-
He's a big boy.
You actually notice something interesting about the way that he's pronouncing it. Like, Hero's name in kind of the root Draconic, it definitely has a more like a high or he kind of sound. Whereas the way Bates saying it, it almost sounds like he's saying the word hero, not hero. And so it's kind of interesting the way he's saying it. You don't know if that's just because of his goblin sensibilities or if he just doesn't know the Dragonborn's name.
Oh, aw.
Cute.
And Belroth, as they're explaining this and you're looking at the painting looks familiar to you as well. I think we discussed this already, and I think you've been kind of struggling with this for the last couple of minutes, but I do want to make sure you're aware you're involved too.
Aw.
Not that I haven't thrown you into the kind of
Poor
abnormality of like,
magpie.
oh fuck, my character's backstory's coming back. Shit. But yeah, that is happening. That is what's happening.
Aveline is just kind of like, I don't know, she's kind of looking like a parent who's trying to decide if she should like tell her kid like Santa's not real, or how to like drop like, oh hey, your goldfish
Like
actually
your
died. Like, you
hamster,
didn't...
your hamster died. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
like-
We
That's
got
actually
a new one.
the
It's not
third
the
one
same.
we
It's-
bought.
Yeah, this is like no, hamsters do not live for 10 years. I'm so sorry.
We actually watched that hamster die, and we put it into a soda bottle and buried it.
Right.
And then we were like, oh man, that was really horrible. We should clean it up. So we like, poured like a bunch of soapy water and it shook it out and like sprayed it out of the soda bottle.
What?
Ugh, God.
What?
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 That is the state of my emotions right now.
Like I can read your mind.
Wait. Does Belroth have two dads? Is that what's going on here?
No.
What a twist.
I know, that's what I was.
So,
Yeah, so he's like literally like
Oh.
holding that book and just like staring at the words on the paper and then just looking up at that painting. Just
Bel-
like the
Belroth, you have fought alongside, or sorry, Ballerina. Actually, no. I would say everybody here can go ahead and make a perception check, except for Belroth. You have about the same kind of immersion. Nodder, Ballerina,
What the hell?
you're good. Panavolca, Aveline, no. Bait for sure. So those of you who got over a 20 or more, you would see that there's a strange representational kind of like similarity in Belroth's shadow that they manifest, or that he manifests, and this figure.
Is it on purpose?
Without missing a beat, Bait looks right at Belroth. Dragon Elf, new hero too.
Oh man.
Yup. Ballerina will go up to Belroth and just put a hand on his shoulder and be like, you've been through many things.
Yep. Do we have any idea what the hell all this is?
Is if it's like the last time I was in a Dread Realm, this is basically the prison that our old friend lived in, is living in. A world they created.
Well, that's fucked up.
According to my research, it is also rather like a temple, isn't it?
Mm.
Suppose we should go
Just
find.
like- there's just a
If
cat.
Bearlord has been here before, did you free the last one from prison?
As a matter of fact, yeah, and that's actually why, well, she kind of trails off. She's like, I don't know if I would actually tell everyone this.
It almost
Is that why
Fate.
heroes here?
Bait, the deceiver that we met outside. When we went to the Dread Realm before, we were forced to sacrifice someone. The deceiver
you
forced us to
chose
sacrifice someone.
Hero.
Well, it was more that Hero wouldn't let any of us choose ourselves.
That sounds right.
It is it is a burden Nodders carried with them, and a pure source of hate for the deceiver inside him.
If anyone is looking at Bait, he doesn't say anything, but he's been holding the dagger with two hands, one hand on the hilt and one hand on the blade, and the hand on the blade is starting to bleed.
Oh no.
Let me see if I notice, because I got a lot of shit going on. Do
It
not
seems
notice.
Everyone here was attached to the lizard man in some way.
I wasn't, but
Well, everyone relevant in the conversation. I'm sorry, that was really mean.
Oh, shit.
Whoa!
Whoa, dude. Whoa.
Whoa!
I'm sorry, that was really mean.
Shots fired.
Aveline.
It came out so bad.
Like,
Oh, Aveline.
Oh,
She's
that's
not good with
hilarious.
words.
charisma is not the strong suit. It's intelligence. It's always been intelligence.
Panavalka
Not
is
it.
Yeah.
not she's not really hurt by that because she's seeing all the like the turbulence of the moment.
Mm.
But she should be.
I'm a robot. I
She
don't
could
know.
be.
The shade. Well, for a robot, you sure can throw shade, young lady.
Wow.
Okay.
Rip.
Nodder will walk up to Bait and put his hand on and be like, breathe, Bait. We don't know what we are gonna find. I just know I'm probably not going to be happy with it.
You hear a voice laughing behind you.
Oh
right.
no.
Balrog just pulls his fucking sword.
The fox
Like, book
person
dropped, sword out.
steps into the room. I apologize for my delay. And they enter into the space with just like a benevolence, like there's a glow to them, which is just manifest. I had hoped that you would take a bit longer in maneuvering through this space, but it seems you've already found the truth of the matter. Correct?
Explain yourself.
Looks over at Aveline.
100%. Just speak. Nodder's hairs are on end. He's so impatient.
Of course, as the new lord of this place, demands I must be less deceptive with my term. This space is an ebb and flow on the edge of that which he has created for himself. We are not there yet. I'm sure you will notice it looks very familiar to you, Bear Lord, when you arrive there. It seems that you are all troubled by the matter at hand. Troubled by the idea that you will see him changed. I assure you, he is just as he was, self-loathing, feelings of unworthiness, but he is happy in his sacrifice, allowing you to have gone free, allowing you, looking to Bait, to have gone free, looking to Belroth, allowing you to have gone free, looking to Panivalka, and you as well. It would seem that his name was quite apt for what he ended up being in life. However, in death, I would say that he is a true villain.
What do you get out of this?
I don't get anything out of it, unfortunately.
Why? Why do I keep running into you? Why do I?
Simply wish to reunite you with your friends, Lord.
You're sick. I detest you.
Do just...
Deceiva, I don't know this hero. I never have.
Of course you know of him. No? Strange. Are you not the leader of your enclave? You are not. Fate has spun us a strange role indeed with your presence. I was hopeful that others would be here, but you are here. Perhaps you will write the stories that will be laid out before you, Bear. and put them to a library where they will be well regarded. I assure you, your presence here is mandatory, but not by me, but by my master. Lord of Brereton, they kind of drop down to like a bow. I am sworn here by my new lord to speak and treat with you earnestly, as I have never once given you my true name. I will do so now. I am Chandra Nikto, the puppet master.
What?
It has always been the case that it was I who gave Gothias his very wish. And in this effort I have also given Hero everything that he has desired, as I'm sure you're positively aware. It has not been much. Not much has been made of his limitless imagination. However, I assure you, your death has been on his mind quite heavily as of late. Do you remember? Do you remember where you last saw him? And do you remember the choice that he made for you? I was there. I remember it like it was yesterday. And for you it was not that long ago, but for him, aeons have passed. You do
I can
understand.
never forget.
You do understand that for him, a timeless matter such as this is much more demanding. I can return you to that state. Perhaps you can change that which was done at that point. Would you, if granted the option? One who was so willing to change the lives of others at the sacrifice of himself, would you give up your own future for that? Bear Lord.
Belroth would place a hand on Nodder's arm and just be like, "Nah, man. Don't talk to this fucker."
They kind of like move their hands like this off to the side, and as they do so, like the entirety of this space kind of fills with mist. Just seems to emanate from every single like particle of sand on the floor. Very shortly thereafter, you see that you are standing in a strange chamber. The floor is rustic, broken apart. In the center of the room, there's a coffin. The coffin is open and empty. The creature in question stands at the door, the steps that lead up to a portcullis, which is shut. This basement is familiar to Nodder, to Adeline, to the others, a mystery. But the coffin at the floor does appear to be of an ancient, old design, well beyond your time.
Nodder opens the coffin.
It's already open. Panavolka would note that this is of an era akin to the War of Sword and Serpent, so a very ancient, old piece of construction.
This is impossibly ancient.
No, nothing is impossibly ancient. That's silly to say. What with time being as fluid as it is. And they kind of look to you. If you were put back into this space, Bear Lord, what say you? Would you give your life up so that Hero Rockscale could leave this place and you instead would be buried here in this plane of mists for eternity?
I would have given up my life then. You know that.
I do. So does he. And
But I can't do that now.
It pains him so. But not for the same reason as it might pain you. I would hope that my lord would come and treat with you, but he has so much. And as they're about to finish that sentence, a gasp of agony shoots out from the fox as you see a massive black blade shoot through their throat, just exiting out of it. You then see a shadow behind them pull the blade and drop it quickly. The technique is familiar to you, Nodder. The shadow, the silhouette that I depicted in the art down, steps forward into the light. As you see him standing before you, the lord of this space, you recognize him as Nodder Rockscale, Threat Lord.
Fucking knew it.
Of this place. And I'll get the hand out here. Hold on a second. Bear with me. It's being goofy. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Dang it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I believe in you.
Nara just has clenched jaw, giant nostrils, and teary eyes. Trying to stay all stoic and shit.
Nice.
Oh.
On his shoulder, he bears the symbol of the Atma. Seems to bound his cloak. On his left arm, he has Nodder's face and pelt bound to his cloak.
What?
Oh.
Bro.
The Dragonborn looks to you. So you returned. Interesting development, that. He looks down to the corpse of the demon, or the fiend, rather, angrily. Looks up to Nodder. You know, I've killed you a couple of times already. Interesting that you would come here with her. And looks to Aveline angrily.
Of all the times I tried to come back, I got pulled here by chance.
By chance? You remained here when you left, as did the others. Just like I did. Everyone here is an echo, a revelation, that which was in life. This place is not real. It is mine, to shape and twist as I desire. They are not dead. They will rise again. They will come back to annoy me. So says its lord, Vice Destestion. He steps forward into the light a bit further. You can see that he's wielding two swords. One is vicious, the weapon he wielded before. The other is a sword you have not seen before. However, Panavolka and... Nope, just Panavolka. History check.
I don't have it trained. Is that okay?
Yep.
15?
The sword is Black Razor. It is an ancient artifact, a very powerful sword.
That's Black Razor. Black Razor.
A gift.
An ancient artifact. A very powerful sword.
You think I do not know this? Hero says. A gift from interlopers who did not make it to treat with me. But here you stand. So would you? Hero says as he looks up to Nodder. Would you trade with me?
Now?
Of course.
I cannot.
He has responsibilities to others.
There are too many people that need me now.
Kind of steps up to you. He kind of pushes his swords back behind him in an effort to look as unintimidating as possible, kind of walks up close to you and sniffs the air. I don't think you're ready. Anyway.
How long has it been for you, Hero?
Time is not a subject that I wish to discuss. I have shaped and reshaped this world 1,000 times over. This current manifestation is more for you than it is for me. That, pointing with Vicious, he points to the casket, is where you saw the former Lord of the Space when we worked together to defeat him. We were granted an option, but a fool's option, to be sure. No Lord is necessary. We could have all given our lives to allow for this space to die, but we didn't. Because I value the lives of you and yours, of Sen, of her looking to Aveline, and of the others. We did not make the right choice. If we had killed ourselves, this world would have folded. Unfortunately, now I am beyond death, empowered by it. Turns away from you and walks towards the portcullis. We made the wrong choice.
How can you know that?
I couldn't have known it at the time, of course not. But I know it now. And that folly is what plagues me.
So what you're suggesting is that if the 6 of us were to do that now,
No.
it would work.
The option is
No?
not on the table because I am still present. You would have to defeat me first. And I guarantee you that is not an option.
So we're stuck here then?
No. Not so much. If I kill you, you will move beyond this place. Into the mists. If the bitter hearts therein see you as worthy, they might allow you access to the gates for judgment. I can guarantee that there is at least one of you that will never make it. For your sins are ancient and powerful. And I can guarantee that another of you will not want to leave that place in the mists. Because you will see the right of it. It's where you belong. Looking at Nodder when he says that. Do you know what truly happened to your people?
Have you learned it?
I have. The bear folk that were with you, your parents, your family were killed by the lord of that town that we were going to deal with. But most of the bear folk beyond that point, specifically those of the land of Ta, willingly accepted Gulthias as their master. They became beasts. Beasts of the forest. Werewolves. Creatures that served him and only him. I was granted the option to have them serve me. I pushed their souls to the mists. In hopes that if I ever fell, they would be freed of this space.
Nodder's just conflicted.
He walks over and he kind of kicks the lid of the coffin shut. So, there are a couple options for you here at this point, Bear Lord. Kind of turns and just like dismissively just like walks back over to the body of the fox, reaches down, grabs it by its head, and lifts it up, looking at it. You can oppose me. We can fight to the death, knowing full well that I am beyond it, understanding full well that you will fail. I don't say that as an arrogant matter, simply as a matter of truth. Or you see this kind of feral nature kind of rise in Hero's eyes, and his eyes kind of turn bloodshot as he kind of reaches down and just bites the face off of the fox fiend and then throws its corpse down to the ground, chewing on its skull and meat, kind of just crunching, and then licking his teeth. He looks to you and says, or you can join me in death. Serve me.
Out of character, out of character question.
Yeah.
So as a player, I know that there must be a way to leave the Dread Realm because that's not this, because I've seen echoes of the Dread Realm in
the Bitter Hearts.
Bitter Hearts can traverse beyond.
Okay.
Yeah. Those were the people that you met in the Vale before you kind of ascended up the mountain. There was also the monster hunter, and there were other individuals who could pass beyond the mists to get to the material plane. Go ahead.
Clarifying question. So when Balroth was reading the book, you had made mention that there was notes in there in Draconic, and there was a challenge made by, did you say Lord Balnoran?
Mm-hmm. Balnoran was the one who challenged the bear folk that were assailing Fort Fairguard.
Like spelled the same way as Belroth's name?
Your last name, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that was in. Okay.
Yeah. and Lord was not a title you were aware your father would have
No.
had. Definitely a conversation to bring up with your mother next time you see her, if
if I ever do.
If that ever happens.
Oh, yo. Belroth, bro.
Oh no.
He's like literally like these pieces are just like kind of falling into place in his head, and he's just like getting more and more kind of like agitated, but like controlling himself. Just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, but according to the note taker who called himself Hero in that book, that person was on Lord Balnoran's side, defending Fort Fairguard from the bear folk.
So the person that wrote the notes who identified themselves as Hero was on Balnoran's side.
Correct.
Like, okay.
And they were defending against bear folk.
Okay.
Raiders.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I guess
Who knew they all were Golty slaves?
Go ahead, Stephanie.
I guess in character, I guess she's just trying to think of like any other kind of situation that could happen to get out of this one.
So he has laid it out for you. There are two options. The portcullis behind, you remember, was very much immovable the last time you were present here. The kind of gambit that was tossed to you before was one of you dies and becomes Dreadlord, and the rest of you leave. It seems like Hero's kind of using what he knows and granting you a similar dichotomy. He's saying you can either face me in combat and die, or you can join me and serve as undead creatures at my beck and call.
Just going from the previous time where we were not aware of all options, apparently, I'm also going to think that we are not aware of all actual options currently as well.
You would know that Hero is less deceptive than the Deceiver, but it might be the case that there is a third option that I'm not laying out on the table and won't put to the table either way. There's no way you're talking me out of it.
Well, that's what essentially I'm going to say out loud, just so that everyone can hear.
And as you're kind of throwing that thought out, Hero kind of like clenches his fangs, kind of looking at you, and says, "There's no other option. I put all offers on the table. I am not," looking down at the mutilated corpse of Chandranikto, "I am not a servant of Vise."
Offers and options are two
But you
separate
have-
things.
Yeah, and you have been consumed by the ill intent of this kind of predicament here.
Almost have taken as an insult. He raises both of his swords kind of up in a martial pose, kind of crossing the blades, looking at Aveline. "I would have you know, doll, that if you continue to malign me, I will leave you as we found you. Piecemeal."
Do you need all of us to join you?
Yes. Well,
It's a little selfish.
no. I suppose not all of you, he says. He looks back to Aveline. He seems to have
Jeez.
he seems to have some sort of malicious kind of nature towards her. It seems to be kind of like this anger that's kind of present at her. And Nodder and Aveline are probably relating that to the fact that Aveline is connected to the
To
former
Golthide.
Lord.
Mhm.
And there seems to
Yeah.
be some sort of issue with
Panavalka is just thinking, wow, she must have been real shady to him.
I mean, she
It adds
was,
up.
but
Yeah.
no, they were shady to each other. It was like a friendly banter, you see.
Yeah.
I don't think he saw it that way.
Hero kind of raises his hands up, and as he's doing so, his swords just kind of disappear. And he walks over to Bait and looks down at him. "It's good to see that you survived."
I wouldn't have done it without you.
You would
He
have.
holds up the dagger.
You would have. You would have found a way. But I'm glad for the help that I was able to provide you.
It seems you are in need of help now.
My goals are my own. I doubt that those that you keep company with would be very interested in what I have in mind.
Do we need them all?
Bait smiles.
Most of them. Kind of looks over to Nodder again, and then kind of moves away from Bait, moving over towards Ballerina. You
Yes.
served as a sentinel once. A guardian of dragonkind. I know that the one that caused you to serve deceived you. I too was deceived in my service. We are not too dissimilar, you and I. I promise you the greater good in this matter is what I am putting forward, despite how it may look. Kind of strides past you as the moment of silence lingers there, moving over to Belroth. I have fought alongside you for a long time now. Half-blood. It was due to your father that I was even possible.
Yeah.
I apologize for what happened to him. It was something that happened long before I came to power. Based on what I can feel now, you destroyed that which consumed him. It was not a step I was ready to make. I could not, in good conscience, kill all those that it consumed. But I respect your decision.
wasn't exactly a ideal existence, was it?
I agree. But it was an existence. It was one I was not willing to cut the cord of, so to speak. But I have fought alongside of you in essence for some time. You draw upon my plane, and have done so long before I was lord of it. Or rather, temporally long before I was lord of it. He kind of walks over to Panavolka as he's kind of finishing that sentence and looks at you. As I'm sure you are aware, temporally, the plane of shadow does not follow the same laws as the material plane. I have been here for much longer than I have actually been here. You are wise and knowledgeable in these facts. So it would seem. A great consort and advisor to one so untrained in these matters, he says as he kind of turns and looks towards Nodder and walks over to him. You are my brother at arms. I have killed you twice. I would have no issue doing so again if you stand against me. Mayhaps.
I don't know what you. Oop.
Okay.
I don't know what you stand for right now.
Mayhaps it would be different with the companions you've chosen to keep company with. But I assure you, what I stand for doesn't matter. What I know is of utmost importance. I can do much with your assistance. I can do very little if I am forced to bring blade against you and yours.
What do you know?
He turns, like, just dismissingly, and, like, his eyes just deadlock on Aveline, and he just strides across the room over to her. He moves like a panther, like predatory, just moving over to her, stares her down and says, "You did not choose your form. You were forced, coerced into it by a charismatic lord. You know this to be true, do you not?"
She's kind of just like, yeah, this is old news. Look on her face.
And others, like you, were taken in the same fashion. Gulthias was always a self-serving individual. And I have it on good authority that he's moved beyond this place at my sacrifice and continues to do as he pleases in the realm of the living. My sacrifice was for naught. I was imprisoned in this space, and he was freed. I was deceived, as were you, when you imbibed the liquid that ended your life, for your soul to be placed in that doll.
She kind of just has like a look of like agreement, like and I'm trying to think with my dumb brain a way to kind of turn this into we have similar goals.
It's okay. As you're kind of like quietly kind of taken aback, but also kind of like sitting there in kind of like shock at the truth that he's kind of presented to you, Hero walks back to the steps, stops, places his hands down, and as he does so, the swords re-manifest into his hands. He looks over his shoulder and he says, "Just like it was before in this basement, Aveline, Nodder. Unfortunately, you were drawn into this by circumstance. You must choose. I give you no false pretense, unlike your predecessor, the one who came to you and brought to you a choice before. I speak to you in honesty. You will join me, or you will fall before my blades. And he turns and he kind of crosses his blades in front of him and seems to just kind of go quiet, waiting for a response. Muted, CJ.
Lord Razorclaws,
Mm.
I cannot in good conscience permit our group to make this choice. We must fight and return. Our community needs our protection now more than ever.
I too cannot sacrifice the lives and put them at risk.
As long
But
as
hero,
you shall,
why? Oh, go.
as long as you shall fight, Lord Razorclaws, I shall fight by your side.
Nodder, you kind of say, "Hero, why?" And you
But
see
hero, why?
you see his claws kind of grip on the hilts of the weapons in front of him, and he says, "You are either with me, or you are against me."
Really?
It doesn't have to be so black and white.
Why repeat the mistakes?
I apologize, individual who was segmented from another. It does indeed need to be a dichotomy. If it is not, the gray area in the middle will consume and will be bent on deceiving you into a direction that you did not intend. Lord Razorclaws, as you were addressed, what if I told you the Lord you murdered, if allowed to live, would have created a more peaceful environment for his people? Would you have not killed him for his past transgressions? Or would you have done it again and again and again? And you, as he's saying that, you can see his teeth kind of biting into the scales of his lip, and like blood starts to kind of seep out of his lip. And again.
I can't know the future. I only know his actions.
You cannot know the future. You can know your choices and how they have rippled through the expanse of time. So I ask you again, Lord Razorclaws, do you feel like you made the right choice in butchering that man who
Yes.
deserved it? Of course you do. Here I stand before you, giving you a similar choice. Do or do not. Join me or die.
Your mistakes are quite different from the horrors of Gulthias's past.
No, not too dissimilar.
Maybe
Actually,
not to you.
I've had plenty of time to reflect upon it, servant. I have seen what Gulthias has made in the past and who he served. I have also seen that as I linger here, my choices are narrowed at the behest of the deceiver. It took a great folly for you to be present here to allow for me to put this option to you. I am fortunate in their mistakes. And that is why I must be precise in how I capitalize on these mistakes. I need you, Nodder, at my side. Together, we can right many wrongs. We can defile the Senate of Ravens and bring an end to the purgatory that is presented to many. We can wage a war here in death and bring justice to it, instead of leaving them to linger in the servitude of death itself.
Is your goal to just get rid of purgatory?
Yes. If I can destroy the order that is placed on death, if I can break down the mist walls that bar me from entering into these other dread planes and murder the dread lords present there, the greater good I had mentioned when I gave myself up will be realized.
In what way? What is the point of all this?
Those that are suffering will no longer have to.
This is utter sacrilege. It must not come to pass.
If you are adherent to the way that death is currently structured, then of course you are correct. And I would agree with you. However, I have seen beyond the veil of the mists and know that it is people just like me who rule these spaces, who keep people bound in purgatory ad infinitum.
And you wish to also do that to us by serving you.
We would be serving a purpose. Yes, you would be sacrificing your lives, certainly. But we would be fighting unjust death. Souls bound to dreadlords, consumed into the plane of shadow. Just as those who were bound in Gulthias' plane. You saw them and interacted with them. Nodder, Aveline, were they all guilty and deserving of that purgatory?
Eveline's starting to like come around to this idea a little bit.
He's very convincing, yeah.
In a fucked up way, yeah.
Well, she also knows that she basically wants to end what Gulthias has done. And that's kind of just like beeline what he's saying, like to do this. So she's kind of just like nodding a little bit, like, yeah, I see what you're getting at.
He is spitting, though.
I see what you're laying down, lizard man.
You didn't have me. You didn't have me in the start there, but you know, I'm coming around.
That second half.
You have me in the second half, though. For real, for real.
Oh, no.
So, with knowledge of religion, the way that the dread planes are kind of set up, is this something that has been this way kind of like since time immemorial? Or is this like a new thing?
Yes, ever since the beginning, Dread Realms have been formed when a specific individual has performed some atrocity that dealt with the deaths of others in such a deep fashion that none could be judged. So instead of judgment, one way or the other, they're instead placed inside of a Dread Realm.
Okay. Yeah, Panavalka's not down, and yeah, I mean, there is nothing that will convince Panavalka to help. She will die fighting him.
Belroth would basically just say one word, and that is Fairguard. He wants to know, like, he would just say Fairguard and just kind of watch.
Hero kind of looks up to Belroth. That is where our fates became entwined. It was due to your father's sacrifice that I was able to live, to make my own sacrifice. Lord Beckard Belnorin was a hero to me. He defended my father and mother, allowed for them to leave, and committed to a duel against bear folk who had tried to assail Fort Fairguard. I never held any malice towards the bear folk. Not until recently. My understanding of them as a ancient being, a spiritual being, that I've gained in my studies here is more nuanced than it was, perhaps, before. He looks over to Nodder. Just kind of stares at you for a long, lingering beat, then looks back to Belroth. They are primal beings, and I say that in the most endearing fashion. They are beings of the essence of the material plane. Some are bent towards rage. Some can control their rage. And some are masters of insight, because they can see beyond the scope of normal mortality. Them and the Kenku, them and the turtles, beings of ancient times, are older in their ways than we are. Your father died defending others for House Sereda. He was a mercenary, very capable. He entered into this space due to its proximity to the material plane at Fort Fairguard. And he was consumed by an ancient being known as an Oblex. His soul left to linger inside of it. You have not freed it, you have destroyed it. He is gone. As I said, I was not willing to make that choice for them. The 100 strong that died at Fort Fairguard and were bound to the Oblex in this space. You and yours made that choice. I'm glad for it, but I'm also sad for their passing. So, he kind of raises the swords, kind of settles them on his shoulders, turns around and faces you all. We do have the remainder of eternity to make this decision. You will not age in this space, so you can take your time, but I will proffer the offer once again. Join me, or fight me.
I will do as you wish, Noter.
I still need to know more. Hero, what's your game plan? There's no way. There's no way.
Give me the numbers.
I can do this, and literally just another drug drum shows up. There's no way.
I will show you my plan of attack. He takes Black Razor and kind of raises it up, and then drags it across the air. As he does so, reality kind of rips apart like parchment having been cut, and then just kind of folds away. And as that happens, hold on. Delete. You're in a different space entirely. A strange fort made of crimson metal, rusted, battered, set up atop a high kind of point You can see out for miles into the mists. As this kind of manifestation happens, he points off to the north, or what you would consider the north, and says, "Beyond those mists rests another dread plane. A dread plane ruled by an individual of ill repute. It is said by the bitter hearts that pass through the mists into this space that he is a tyrant, hell-bent on the destruction of any who would enter into his realm. It is said that during his prime in the material plane, he made pacts with ancient gods, parasitic gods, and they granted him powers not too dissimilar from those inside of Gulthias. My initial goal will be to pass beyond those mists, break down the walls, and bury Black Razor into his heart. If that does not end him, I will devour him. I will take his powers, and I will move to the next mist wall, break it, breach it, find the next Dreadlord, kill him, consume him, her or them. I care not. Until we find the Senate of Ravens themselves, I butcher them all at this blade, consume them, devour them, until no lingering presence of this purgatory death lingers, and only destiny and death linger. So individuals such as Lord Balnoran no longer a circumstance of this forgotten space between life and death. Once all is done, I will lay down my swords, and I will rule this plane of mists, hopefully with you at my side. If not with you at my side, then with
I
you.
don't for a moment believe that this revolution of purgatory can be achieved. All he's describing is a greater, larger, more powerful dread realm that encompasses all the rest. That is what he's describing, Lord Razorclaws. And he wants you to do this dirty bidding for him, to accumulate power in this monopoly of death. You five will have to strike me dead, because I will not cooperate.
Hero kind of looks to you, Panavalka. Not absolutely off the table. Looks to Belroth. End of you.
You want... I don't care for how my father existed, but why should you have more say in fate than anyone else?
Who else would stand against fate? You? Can you think of anyone better prepared to do so? I stand at the pinnacle of this conflict. I am at the vanguard of this battle. I am ready. The knowledge I possess allows me access
To what?
to the ways to move beyond the mists. And the only reason that I ask that you would join me is so that if I do fail, my powers will move to you. Looking to Nodder when he says that. And then on to those that you feel they should be bequeathed to. I know that I am undeath due to the nature of my pact with Chandra Nikto. Looks down to the corpse. It's still lying there, by the way. Then looks back to Nodder. And I understand that if I were to fall, I could trust no other.
This isn't balanced.
You keep saying that. You think that it should be?
Another. Yes, of course. All things
I would say
have
that
a natural balance.
I would say that you are wrong. But I will not allow you to choose the fate of those that are with you. It seems that you, this mage, this son of a lord, would be indentured towards standing against me. What about
There's
you?
another way.
What about you, Elf? Looking to Bellarina. Do you stand against me?
If Nutter does, I do as well.
And what about
I trust his judgment.
What about you, Goblin? Says to Bait.
Hero once set Bait free. You said yourself we could end this two ways. You could fight us, or we could join you. Bait supposes there are two ways he could set Hero free.
He smiles at him.
I'll be honest. I'm starting to regret granting you that dagger more and more. Looks to Aveline. I know your decision. You do not even need to speak.
Oh, okay.
You are
Okay.
you are a servant of that which I destroyed, which we destroyed. You stood against him and his machinations. Why would it be any different for me? Unless I have read you wrong?
No, I feel that our goals are one and the same. I don't know everything about the Dread Realms, but I do know. What I do know is that I don't like them. I'm also bent on exacting revenge against that who caused me unable to breathe, unable to grow, unable to truly die, unable to have a form that is truly my own.
What if I told you I could grant you everything you wished? In this space, I am the shaper of reality. He raises his hands, his swords disappear. He kind of pulls his hands away from his swords, they disappear in the air. He places his clawed hands in front of him, kind of just twists his fingers a bit in some kind of strange magical pattern. As he does so, you look down at your hand and it starts to become flesh. You can see the joints kind of melding into flesh, becoming more humanoid as he does so. Is this what you want? A gift Gothias would not grant you?
No, you misunderstand. I would like revenge on Gulthias.
Kind of raises his
And I
hands
would
out
like-
to the side and stops the transformation. Go ahead.
And I would like to prevent this from happening in the future as well.
Do you think that I would do as Gothias did if I were to become, as your friends have said, the true ruler of all the Dread Realms?
It does appear to me that the Dread Realms tend to corrupt or bring the corruption out of people.
If there was one to resist the corruption, Bait thinks it might be Hero.
Well, that's what I hope as well.
If Aveline stands with Hero, Bait shall stand as well.
I can assure you, I am prepared to break the walls of the mists, slay all those that rule the realms around me. And then once it's done, once all of the Senate of Ravens is disposed of, take no extra effort and move no longer against mortality. If possible, I think I could break the very laws of undeath so that none could rise again, waking world, in the material plane. However, you have made your choice, Bear Lord. Some stand against what you have chosen, and they can exhibit their decisions during this conflict. He raises his hands back up, the swords appear again. Very quickly and deftly kind of moves the blades about in a very, like, just, you've seen this kind of gesture from Hero before. It's like, it's nostalgic, but at the same time it's like, oh god.
Tragic. Brah.
Oh god, we are going to fight him. And he kind of raises the blades up in like his typical posture and says, "You will stand against me. Then let us begin." And at that, we'll end the session. Thank you for those that are watching. We will see you next week as we start the Battle of Four Brothers. And we will see you then. Thank you.